Okay, yes, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It's really nice to be back in this nice venue and with the nice PCF community. Actually, it's funny because in French, PCF stands for Parti Communiste Français. And I saw that tonight we're going to have dinner in the Karl Marx street. But don't worry, we are not a communist country. We are quite reasonable, even though sometimes we do think that we also need a push to really make a difference. We tend to see that only voluntary approaches, we also have voluntary agreements and voluntary approaches and tools, but we're not sure that they can make such a difference, and they remain to sort of niche products or pilot projects, whereas we really want to move to more sustainable production and consumption patterns and greening the economy. And if we really want to green the economy, we have to make really a big difference. And I'm convinced that everybody here is working in that sense and contributing in their own ways. And I'm sure that this variety and the mixture of approaches that we are all taking will lead sometime to very good synergies. I mean, this kind of forums is the proof that we are working and discussing together, and that we will find a middle way. So thank you very much to Tema for the invitation. I will talk to you about our current status in terms of legal and tool development, and also tell you about the experimentation, nationwide experimentation on the environmental labeling of consumer products that indeed we will launch in July 2011. So the context is a policy on sustainable consumption and production. As I said, we have a tool mix of voluntary agreements, incentives and regulation. Among the regulatory tools, we have this plan in the Grenelle II Environment Framework Law to have carbon and environmental information on consumer products on the basis of a trial phase starting on the 1st of July 2011. Before that, the Grenelle I law, just as a recap, the Grenelle de l'Environnement was a national round table gathering all stakeholders and public authorities that we organized in 2007 that led to the adoption of these two national framework environmental laws. And already importantly, in the Grenelle I law, which sets the main orientations, we have the right of the consumer to dispose of information regarding the environmental impacts of the products. This is a general orientation. The Grenelle II law is the operational law. In the meantime, we have been developing the tools for measuring the environmental impacts of products. For doing this, in 2008, we set up a general platform co-chaired by ADEME, which is the National Environmental Protection Agency, and AFNOR, which is the National Standardization Body. The platform supervises a methodological working group, a communication working group, and about 10 sectoral product working groups. All this gather about 670 organizations and 1,000 experts. It's multi-actors, multi-stakeholders. In 2008, we adopted our repository of good practices, BPX 30323, and its main principles. Many of them derived from ISO, but we are going further than ISO since we are taking a multi-criteria approach, as I explained this morning in my intervention following the presentation by Procter and Gamble. In 2009, we adopted our general methodology for the quantification of the environmental impacts of products. I will come back to it later on. And the work calendar for 2010 and 2011, and even for the coming years, is the product category rules. We adopted our first ones in July this year. The public generic database and the online calculation tool. So our main principles in the repository of good practices is, of course, LCA approach. The carbon footprint is a criterion that will be common to all product categories. Naturally, indicators are the same within a category, same functional unit. Limited number of indicators per category, so you will have carbon footprint for every product category, and two more additional environmental indicators linked to the main environmental impacts. It has been decided that for the measurement of the impacts, the working groups in the PCRs should select maximum 5 indicators, and for the communication, maximum 3, including the carbon footprint. We'll have a harmonized communication format, ultimately, that will be taken through a political decision after the trial phase, and we will have a public secondary database. Yes, as I said, then in 2009, last year, we adopted our general methodology for the quantification of the environmental impacts of consumer products. I would like to underline that we are also active on international harmonization, in particular at the ISO level, not so much at GHG protocol. I mean, ADEM is an observer in the steering committee, but they are so busy. It's a small team working on a quite important national project, so unfortunately they cannot be involved as much as they would like on all international initiatives, but this doesn't mean that there's a lack of interest. We are completely aware that international harmonization is necessary, and we are active in the ISO 14067. The methodology is available in English at this web link. You have to pay for it because it's owned and managed by the standardization body, but it's not too expensive. I think it's about 50 euros. And the first annual review is underway, addressing issues such as carbon storage, end of life, the retail phase, and so on. Here is a list of the sector working groups. One is in gray, it's just because it hasn't started working yet. Now, about these sector working groups, it is important to say that they are co-chaired with the industry, so they are led by ADEM, the agency, and the Industrial Federation. I am not going to go in details in the approach that the working groups are taking for developing the PCRs, because I think most of you are familiar with this approach and work. I would like to say, nevertheless, concerning the data, since it's been already quite discussed this morning, that we do have a minimum requirement of providing specific data. But the right balance is the decision on the balance between primary and secondary data is based on the consensus with the industry, and the decision is taken with industry. So, in terms of PCR's work, we adopted our first PCRs in July on men's shoes. The PCR on shampoos is finalized, though not adopted yet. The PCR on detergents is being finalized. Coming up end of year, beginning of next year, PCRs on clothes, furniture, rucksack, nappies. This is not reflecting product priority, it's just reflecting the level of progress and advancement of the different working groups due to different reasons. Level of involvement of the industry, availability of LCA work, and that kind of thing. Now we have a database governance committee, multi-stakeholders. The public database will be free to access and available on the internet. It will include data from the ELCD as well as other databases. The development plan of the generic database has been established. We are starting the construction now. Actually, this week, ADEME is going to close and select the call for tenders. And we will start data feeding in the spring. In order to develop this plan, this work plan for the database, ADEME had a study made by a consultant to identify the data needs, identify the current availability of existing data and the gaps. And we realized that a lot of generic data, industrial data, is already available. There's a big gap, nevertheless, concerning food products. So we launched a specific 3-year project with institutes and consultants to collect food data, including tropical agricultural products. The Economy and Industry Ministry is also doing a study on the SME capacity to collect data, and the final results will be accompanied with the tools as well to help the SMEs. We are working and discussing on partnerships and agreements with other international or national existing databases. First one, of course, the European one, ELCD, but also databases in Switzerland, the Netherlands, Germany, other countries in the world. See what we can use, if we can get to financial agreements or work partnerships, import the data, adapt it to the French plans, and so on. So now I'm coming to the experimentation, nationwide experimentation that we are launching in July 2011. Please take this information with a bit of caution because it's the current terms of reference. It's the main orientations. It shouldn't change too much, but it's in a process of consultation at the moment with stakeholders. So we will have the final terms of reference at the end of the month, beginning of November. We will immediately translate it into English, since we would be particularly interested to have foreign actors because of the obvious international dimension of any environmental labeling on consumer products and the trade implications and the harmonization implication as well. So the experimentation is voluntary. It will be open to producers and retailers, individual groups or federation, multi-products and multi-sectors. We want it to be as large as possible. Multi-criteria, although concerning foreign actors, we could consider carbon projects, but with a strong encouragement to try to adapt it to a multi-criteria approach. And the whole idea is to test on the field and in real the different modalities and aspects in terms of technical implementation. Of course, testing the methodologies and the tools, costs, imports, data issues, SME capacity, consumer, of course, etc. There will be, in the call for candidates, there will be some minimum requirements. One of them is that the calculation methods must be conformed to the main principles of the BPX 3323. The operators will have to use the ADEME-AFNOR PCRs when they exist. When they do not exist, they will have to work with ADEME on the environmental indicators then they can use. So here is a provisional calendar. We will launch at the beginning of November the call for candidates. We will select the candidates in January, and the experimentation should start in July 2011 for a minimum time of 1 year. One requirement as well will be to communicate the environmental information to the consumers with quite a lot of flexibility on the communication, since precisely it hasn't been the format in the French project is left to future political decision, and the aim of the experimentation is also to test several communication modalities. In terms of governance, we have a steering committee made up of the ministry and the stakeholders working on the terms of reference, managing the call, the selections, and after that evaluating the result. The results will be evaluated on the basis of common criteria, such as technical implementation issues, product differentiation, costs and benefits, communication efficiency, consumer reaction, data issues, and so on. We will have a technical committee, of course, as well with the project leaders, and an interministerial committee. So I would like to take this opportunity to invite you to join us. As I said, we would be very interested to have non-French business leaders involved in our national experimentation. So come and test with us on the scale of a national market. For you, it's an opportunity to directly take part in the French experimentation, to practically test environmental labeling on consumer products. It's an opportunity, of course, to, in terms of green image of businesses, and for orienting the French plans with the input and the experience that you are going to bring into this experimentation. So your participation would be important for all the issues, but also as a foreign operator, help us very much on the issue of imported products. So that's it. If you have any questions, I'm available. For those of you who might be interested in joining the experimentation, I would like to reassure you that we are not always on strikes. There's a bit of a crisis at the moment, but the country is not completely blocked. Last time it was blocked, it was 15 years ago, so it's not as bad as the media might tell you. And in the meantime, we have quite a large and profitable market, so you should come and test with us. One last thing, I'm already running out of cards, or I didn't take enough, so if you are interested, I would be grateful if you note my contacts straight from the slide. Thank you very much.